These are like
involves dog
cyber
butts.
terrorists, Cole.
What?
Up, Cole! The new one involves dog butts too. Welcome back to Chill Filter, the podcast where we drink whiskey, so you don't have to, but you probably should. You probably are. And that's why we like it. On this week, we are drinking Knob Creek 15-year KC-002. I assume that's a thing. I don't know. I'll have to wait until Cole gives me the info. I've very rarely knocked back a few knobs. You know, it's not happened frequently. So I'm ready to learn a little bit from Cole. But before we get to Cole teaching us about things, hit us up on Instagram. Talk to us. We love to say hi. Also,
and vote for things when Two Pick Tuesday and what would you Wednesday.
But we've got some new listeners. We've been growing in listenership, and I want to urge you, if you actually enjoy the podcast /YouTube, give us a rating and review over on whatever platform you subscribe to. We'd love to have it. We'd love to see it. We need to tell Mitzelprick that yes, we like the meanderings.
You're wrong.
We know there are some inaccuracies. They fix them. And you know what? Most of our listeners are not family. In fact, our family doesn't even want to listen to us.
Yeah.
He thinks that all of our ratings and reviews are because we're rated fairly high. Yeah. So anyway, folks, leave a rating and review. Other than that, that's about it. Cole, how you doing, bud?
Doing better than last week. It's funny. Last week, I think we recorded on a Friday. And I listened to last week's episode some point this week and told you about how I had gotten off clean with the getting sick around the house.
Get down with the sickness?
Got down with the sickness that night. It was, that was me in the shower on Friday night.
Well, I will say this, Cole. Mm-hmm. You were a little roasty toasty on last week's recording.
No. I was getting handsy. I was getting gestural. Yeah, but sadly, that wasn't it. I mean, I was about due for getting what the rest of my family had. And I thought I was holding off, and then I had like ice cream that night. Heather and I watched Ted Lasso together after recording, and then I'm like, my stomach doesn't hurt, but something's going on down there.
A little rumbly in the tumbly.
Yeah, rumbly in the tumbly. And that night I threw up twice. But here's the crazy thing. That wasn't the worst part about it. And actually I told Heather the first time I threw up, I was like, oh, that was it? Like if every barf were like that, I wouldn't hate barfing. And then I got hit a little later and I was like, that's why I hate barfing.
Like a dog returns to its vomit. So did Cole.
Yeah, exactly. And what happened was when I get sick, I have weird dreams. And sometimes they're not just like crazy or vivid or anything like that, but they're like delusional. And what I mean by that is I basically convinced myself that I needed to fulfill some sort of input into the sleep machine. And I don't even know what the sleep machine was, and then the sleep machine would offer me sleep. And it was just like the whole night I couldn't sleep because I'm like, am I inputting it right? And I was like, inputting what? And like sometimes I would like slap myself awake and be like, hey, you just sleep. Like you don't like, but my mind was so like, just the sick dream was so overwhelming that I would just go like back to
a combination of the Dream Police and the Rage Against the Sleep Machine.
Dude, it was crazy. And I probably got 30 minutes of sleep that whole night. And meanwhile, I'm thinking, am I going to keep throwing up? Which I didn't after midnight.
You ever just sleep on the bathroom floor?
No, I rarely throw up. So
I'm a fairly like, my philosophy is when in doubt, get it out, puke away, brother. Yeah. And there's plenty, especially in this, like if you're a little fevered or like summertime, I will sleep on the ceramic tile because it's nice and cold, cozy up to whatever dirty laundry's nearby as a pillow, and like that's my home for the night, man.
Yeah. No. I the last time I threw up before this, 5 years ago, and before that was 5 years before that. And
I wonder if that's related to your burping disability.
What's that?
I wonder if it's related to your burping disability.
I'll tell you what. You know when you like burp a lot when you're about to throw up?
No.
Okay, some people do. And the whole time my throat was just like just let something, and it would just like do that spasm that it does all the time. And
Your
so a lot
esophagus is the
before I
Red
actually
Sea.
threw up.
Your stomach's like, let my people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got sick, and then so the next day I was hoping to spend some good time with my family, but I basically had to catch up on sleep because once I kind of in the morning I was like, oh screw it, I'm just gonna wake up and not even wake up, like just gonna go about my business for a little bit, hopefully get my mind off of this dream delusion. What's that?
I'm just singing System of a Down. Wake up.
Oh, nice.
Why did your mind off the dream stuff? Why did you get off the dream stuff? Did you do the right machine? I did the right machine.
Yeah, no, that's how it felt, and then luckily my mind got off of it, and I could go back to sleep, and I slept like half the day probably.
Can I tell you something, Cole?
But then I was 100% on Sunday. Yeah, what's up?
Relish that, because when there's 2 kids, you may not
Oh,
have that
God.
luxury.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, that's the thing is like we're like Heather's due in 3 months, 3.5 months, and
that's
it's
gonna
like
come.
I'm not even like thinking about how my life is going to be changed so much because we have a one already. Like when we were pregnant with Beck, it was like, oh, that's all I could think about is like how my life's going to change with Beck. But with Beck, it's just like so entertaining and so filling of time that for number 2 we're like, oh man, like what we don't even think about the potential when I think it's just going to hit us like a ton of bricks in July. So
Well, it's honestly, the nice thing is you have a kid who's fairly stable,
mhm.
and you just gotta, like, I think you have to guard and preserve your family time. So, like,
Yeah.
don't overextend yourself. Don't plan on doing too much. And
Mhm.
then, like, you're sorry, buddy. You got to go to bed at a decent hour so you can be an equal participant. That's the
Yeah.
hard thing. Like, it's just like
Oh,
regulating yourself so that you are better the next morning so that you can
yeah.
help. Because, like, Heather's going to be so busy with the baby.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have
And
to shut down the jewelry shop for a while
yeah,
and just figure that one out slowly. So yeah,
in all good time. Do you guys think you want to have 3 maybe, or are you guys 2 and done?
I'd probably be good with 2, but
Yeah.
Heather's keeping it open.
Okay.
Um, but I'm okay with just 2. So,
Yeah. That's how it goes.
but otherwise, good week. I called off tomorrow because it's Good
Nice.
Friday. We're recording on Thursday, and Good Friday is the daycare is closed, so I am taking care of Beck all
Perfect.
day. So it should be fun. We're
Oh,
gonna this week actually, my sourdough starter turned 3 years old,
hmm.
and so we're gonna make a sourdough together, sourdough loaf for 2, me and Beck. And then I should like sell that on Craigslist or something. Like, hey, do you want a part of a 3-year-old mature sourdough starter? $5, and
It's
I'll give
house
you a little
trained.
enough to start your own. What's that?
It's 3 years old. It's house trained.
Yeah, yeah, it can pee outside. It can no, it's a solid what do you call it? A solid starter. It's been good to
Can I
me for the past 3 years, and I've
do you
been
have
good
an
to it.
so I've this year I got we've killed 1 sourdough
Okay.
starter. And then we killed a second sourdough, but the second
Okay.
sourdough we killed, before we killed it, we gave some to Papa G, and Papa G
Nice.
gave some back to us. So we're on our 3rd iteration of sourdough
Nice. Yeah,
starters.
I gotcha.
And when I got my second sourdough, I learned that people name them. Did you name your sourdough?
I've never named it. But if I did, it'd be a cool name, like
You got
something
to name it.
like OPP Popowitz or something like that.
Classic,
Yeah.
classic name.
What a name. What a dog.
And Chelsea and I
OPP.
still, I'm going to bring that up tonight. We're going to argue about who actually named that dog OPP Popowitz, because
Oh,
I
you
swear it was
still
me. She swears it's her.
really? That's a
Yeah,
good name. OPP Popowitz.
he
What
was
a
the
dog.
well.
How
Our
old
new
was he when
dog,
he passed?
he was too young. I think he was
Oh,
11, which is
still.
older, but like for a like mongrel mix, that's kind of young. And it
That is
happened fast. Like he was,
oh.
yeah, that was the hard part. It was just like, oh, he's
Oh,
not feeling well, and we're taking him to the vet. And oh, guess what? Now the vet says he's doing horrible 2 days later.
oh,
Yeah.
doggies.
I will say, Bo's
Uh-huh.
name's pretty awesome. Bocephus
Mm-hmm.
Mugget.
Nice.
I like that one.
He needs a middle name or a middle initial.
His middle name is Mugget, so it's M. Bo
Oh,
M.
Deadlow?
Deadlow. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Bocephus Mugget Deadlow. Why Mugget? Because the girls could not say chicken nugget. They said Mugget, and he was so small, like a chicken nugget. We named him Mugget.
Oh, that's cute. I had a dream one time. It wasn't a dog, but I had a pet sparrow. I might have
No,
mentioned
this
this
is already
before.
sounding worse than MLK's dream, but go ahead.
No, yeah, it's totally worse than that dream. I'll tell you that. But I named him in my dream. I named him Crouton, which I think is a fantastic
That's a
name
good
for a
name.
sparrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, that's how I'm doing this week. Looking forward to the weekend. Yeah, life's good. I'm entry buzzing on Sentinel Rye and having a good
Ooh.
time.
Ooh la lur. That is a good
Ooh
ride.
la
That's good.
lur.
I don't.
Yeah, how are you
It's not
doing?
what I want in a ride, but it is a good ride. And I'm
Ooh.
Del Bach fanboyed. How am I doing? I'm all right, dude. Oh my gosh, today I had meetings scheduled at another school, like to transition my 8th graders to high school, and they were scheduled for 20 or 30 minutes. The shortest meeting I had
Oh no.
was 50 minutes,
Oh no.
and I have not eaten lunch.
Oh,
I
rough.
have not, like, it just threw my whole day off. I'm like, if we weren't going to stick to the meeting timeline, I would have called for a sub. I feel like,
Yeah.
it was awful. So that was
Stupid high school teachers.
today was tricky. Today was a little tricky. The teachers were great. It was other people that were in the meeting. I don't want to say too much more because they might be listening. They probably aren't. No one listens to us, except for the people who really
True.
matter. And you know
Yeah.
what? You matter, listener. Other than that, I'm excited. I starting my summer itinerary. I nailed down a trip with my father-in-law's Mercedes, like camper van kind of thing that he bought. And I got the girls for at least 3 days. We're gonna do a Yellowstone trip. And then I might
Nice.
extend it to some other sites after 3 days, depending on how sane I am and able to parent. So I'm excited about that. Like, and the girls, it's so cute. The girls are so excited. Well, the twins are excited. Amara's like a teenager, and she's like, I need good sleep. I'm like, welcome to the real world, honey.
Yeah.
Haven't had good sleep. Well, she was a good sleeper, so I had good sleep up until the twins. But like,
Yeah.
got that trip nailed down. I'm so excited for that. It's gonna be me and the girls. Chelsea's not in the picture, not because I don't love Chelsea, but because I want to do a father-daughter like vacation, take advantage of having summers off. So we're gonna do Yellowstone, possibly Glacier. I don't know. We'll see.
Wow. You should go to like Moab or something.
Maybe next summer. This summer, like, yeah, like Yellowstone was the vacation part of my family vacations in the summer. So we would always go to Nebraska, and we'd drive to Nebraska, which I loved. I loved seeing family and doing that sort of thing. And then on the way back, if we took the northern route, we'd always stop at Yellowstone. And I friggin' love Yellowstone. I've not been to Yellowstone since I was 25, and I'm 42. That's almost 20 years. Holy moly. I almost swore there because I was so astounded by how old I've gotten.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to go. But yeah, I've never been to Moab, and Moab is pretty close. So I should do that at some point. Maybe that's next summer's van life road trip. So we got that nailed down. And then, dude, I tell you, we're like in this new phase of life. Twins are in dance. Amara's in dance. Amara's like going to these youth groups and things. And I'm like, dude, I feel like all I do is come home, try to make dinner real fast. And then no, that's just today. And try to make dinner real fast. And then I got to go pick this kid up and come home. And like Chelsea and I are like, so it's one of those things, like, life is just busy, but it's like, I think I have a better perspective on it based off of COVID, because like, I am so glad Amara has like good friends and she gets to go do these things. And the twins are like, you know what I mean? It's just a nice spot in life where it's like your kids can socialize with people besides the family, and that's good.
Yeah.
So I'm good, man.
That'll be a day for us.
Yeah,
Beck saw the Easter Bunny this week, and she was gripping Heather. Do not let me be held by that thing.
Oh, was it a Donnie Darko bunny?
No, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't the classiest of bunnies, but it was more so like it wasn't that bad either. But it was I think Bex just doesn't like to be held by strangers.
I like to think that it was not a classy bunny. I think if a classy bunny showed up, Beck would be like, "Hello, classy bunny."
Yeah, hello there, Mr. Bunny.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That's fun.
that's life. Anything
It
else
is.
with you? What are you doing for Easter weekend?
Going to my mother-in-law's church with the kids, and then we're gonna go to her house and cook a meal.
Nice.
Ta-da! What about you guys? Oh gosh! Speaking of which, I had a
Mhm.
memory come up the other day, and it
Mhm.
was that Easter weekend where we had you over, and we had the Jameses, Lauren and Demetra.
Nice.
Remember them?
Uh-huh.
And we had mimosas, and we had bacon and eggs, and we played croquet.
I don't even remember that.
You don't
Was it
remember
at your
that?
place?
It was at our house, yeah.
I think I might remember that.
And like honestly, like I don't know. That's kind of where I want to be in life, where it's just like you hang out with the people you want to hang out with. Not
Yeah.
that I don't love
Mhm.
my family. I love my family very much.
Mhm.
But when you get to hang out with like your friends that you
Yeah.
choose, that's so nice.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah,
remember
it's
that?
nice. I think I do.
We played croquet. We had mimosas.
Oh yeah, I
We had
totally remember
bacon.
that. Yep.
Okay.
And there was
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, I remember it too.
I remember one thing from that. I remember telling Lauren your Wi-Fi password, and you were really upset that I said it out loud in the
Was I?
neighborhood.
Oh
Yeah, you were like, "Cole, someone could hear you and steal our Wi-Fi."
Was I
It wasn't
seriously
really
upset?
upset. It was just like,
seriously, or was I joking upset?
I think you were half and half,
Okay.
which wasn't a bad thing.
Kind of like that one episode where you said my Wi-Fi password on the show.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I didn't fully say it. I think I like
You
went
said
for
it.
though.
You said
I said the
our
whole thing?
old. Yeah, you did. And I remember Adam.
I still remember it.
It was when Adam was editing, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, Cole, that cracked me up." Robbie
That's
freaked
funny.
out. Yeah,
Uh,
I
it
just don't like
involves dog
cyber
butts.
terrorists, Cole.
What?
Shut up, Cole. The new one involves dog butts too.
They always involve dog butts.
You know what they need to involve next time? Sherry butts.
Sherry butts drive me nuts. But
Cool.
yeah.
On
Yeah,
this-
we're
does
doing
this Knob Creek
family
15 year have sherry butts?
No.
Can we?
Jim Beam doesn't usually do like special finishes.
I was trying to do a smooth transition to like, I don't know, Robbie. Maybe we should.
Let's
take
find
a
out
walk.
on the history.
Yeah.
No, but you had asked me what am I doing for Easters?
Oh, that's right.
So,
Sorry.
It'll just be with my wife's family. Hopefully I'll make a brisket or something like that, but we'll figure it out.
You better go buy that so you don't
Definitely
have
a sourdough. Yeah, it might be a little late to pick up a brisket at this point, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, let's go for a walk break. We'll come back. We'll talk about the history of Knob Creek, and we'll talk about a few other things. But anything before we do that, Robbie?
You're the best, Cole.
You're the best, dog butts.
Hey!
And with that, we'll go to break. And we're back. A few notes to get to before we get into the history. Not many notes, but some good talks this week for some of our listeners. But the main shout out I want to give this week to Drew Toland. I'm scared if Drew became a Patreon supporter because he might be too good looking. Because he's already a very good looking man. But I'm scared. So Knob Creek. 15-year KC-002. Before I checked, I would have sworn that we've only drank Knob Creek once before on the podcast. But this was actually our fourth Knob Creek product on the podcast.
Adam likes Knob Creek. I remember that because I bought him a Knob Creek mug, and I don't think I ever sent it to him.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That was the beginning. Episode 10, we drank the Cask Strength Rye from 2018. I believe it was barreled in 08 or something like that. Maybe not, but episode 58, we drank the twice barreled rye, and episode 70, we drank Knob Creek Small Batch versus the 25th anniversary edition. But this is Robby's first Knob Creek whiskey on the podcast, because the most recent episode was 180 episodes ago, not well before, but somewhat before Robby joined. So I thought I could talk about Jim Beam Distillery, since we don't talk about it often, but I'll do that one day in the future when we cover a non-Knob Creek whiskey. Today, we're just going to talk about the history of Knob Creek. So the year is 1992, and the larger label and whiskey maker, Jim Beam Distillery, had been around for quite a while.
Robert was rollerblading and playing roller hockey in the South Zilla Street of Kennewick,
when Cole was just a little bit older than Beck. Yeah, that's crazy to think about. But anyway, and Booker, no.
Did you ever rollerblade?
Yeah, I mean, I did a little bit. Yeah, we had a
I rollerbladed all the time.
Yeah. You were that guy?
Well, it was just what everybody did, and I played roller hockey a ton.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it makes sense with roller hockey. No, yeah, I mean, I watched it a little bit.
I watched.
No good at it.
Tons of X Games rollerblading. Were
you able to go backwards?
Oh yeah, bro, I can skate backwards like nothing.
Never been able to do that in my life.
Oh, it's easy. You just kind of like do a lazy 2-sided figure 8 with your feet, and you just shake of them hips, man, bro. Okay. Oh, you just it's so. I would demonstrate it on YouTube, but I don't want our numbers get too high here. Yeah, people will view that booty like crazy.
Yeah, scooch your booty.
It's all in the booty. Boot, the booty.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about rollerblading and skating.
Yeah, let's switch it over to that podcast. Booker, no, a 6th-generation distiller from the Beam family, he had an idea. Booker was age 64 when he introduced Knob Creek. Remember how I said Brown-Forman started Woodford Reserve as a kind of like a luxury brand for their line? Well, Knob Creek was basically the same kind of thing, just around about the same time. Jim Beam Standard was very available and not always seen as the classy man's bourbon. And even though Knob was the same juice as Jim Beam, at least for bourbons and ryes, it was aged differently and packaged very differently. And why the name Knob Creek? Well, I looked into this, and apparently it was a brand revival. Some people say it was named after the creek that went through Abraham Lincoln's property. Probably the case. But it was also a brand revival. There's a lot of those in the whiskey world of like brand revivals, like Kentucky Al, or what was the other one I was thinking of? I forget. But Knob Creek was originally started in 1898 by the Penn Maryland Corporation, a division of National Distillers. And then in 1987, Beam bought out National Distillers. So it was very easy brand purchase there. The original 100 proof was a 9-year bourbon. That standard was 100 proof. And they always claimed it to be a small batch product for Knob Creek, at least, if not a single barrel. And in 2009, they temporarily...
have meaning.
What's that?
Those words sound like they have meaning.
But they really don't. The small batch really doesn't have.
Single barrel does.
Yeah, who knows what? Yeah. But in 2009, they temporarily removed the age statement. Demand was too high, and they had to compromise a little by using less than 9-year barrels. One interesting, and they brought it back in like 2020, I want to say. One interesting thing about Knob Creek is that in the rick houses where it's aged, apparently the Knob Creek is never aged in the top 2 or bottom 2 floors. And Jim Beam is known for pretty tall rick houses altogether. So there is always the idea, I've heard this a lot, that the middle of the rick house is where the best stuff is. But
so if you have a taller rick house, a wider rick house,
you can more house a lot of goodies in the middle.
More in the middle.
Yeah. So since 1992, a good few varieties have been introduced to the Knob Creek line. To name a few, there's the single barrel 9-year, and that came out in 2010 at 120 proof. Knob Creek Rye came out in 2012 at 100 proof. No age statement on that originally. And then since then, they've come out with at least 3 age stated bourbons. There's the 12-year, the 15-year, what we're drinking today, and then there's the 18-year bourbons. And like we mentioned last week on Whiskey World News, the Rye is adding a 7-year age statement now. So that's cool. What we're drinking today, the Knob 15 KC-002. This is a special release that originally came out in June of 2020. And I believe this is the 2021 release, the second release. So it's pretty allocated, pretty hard to find in general. The mash bill is typically a low rye beam mash bill, which is 77% corn, 13% rye, and 10% malted barley. Pretty much everything that's not Old Grandad or Basil Hayden's is this low rye mash bill that Knob uses. The same as Jim Beam and everything. Proof is 100 on this one we're drinking today. And I'm pretty sure I've had this at a bar, at least the 2020 release. But I'm keeping a fresh mind for this review. Total wine price, $100. So shorter history for today, but better to just dig in.
Let's dig it.
This, John.
Can you dig it?
I gotta close the door before my wife comes home.
I'll tell you one thing. I just referenced a movie that I guarantee Cole's not seen, because when we were talking off air, Cole says he's never seen The Breakfast Club.
Not yet.
By John Hughes. Not that John Hughes.
Not John
the
Voldemort
movie director.
Hughes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I say, can you dig it? Do you know what that's from, Cole?
It just sounds like doesn't Arnold Schwarzenegger say that in a movie? Can you dig it? Or no, after he like kills someone with a shovel, he'd be like, "Can you dig it?
Can you dig it?" No, it comes from The Warriors. You ever seen The Warriors?
No, but is that a John Hughes? No.
No, it's definitely it takes place in
I've
New
seen
York,
I've seen
Chicago.
the cover of it. It's based in Chicago, you said?
Nope. John Hughes is Chicago. This was like New York gangs.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure.
Great
Warriors, come out and play.
Clink, 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 clink.
You've seen
Apparently that was like last minute decision of the actor to do that.
So you've seen it, or you just have?
I've seen that scene.
Okay. It very much skewed my definition of gangs until I got into middle school.
My definition of gangs was based on West Side Story, so it was very different than real gangs. So.
Cool. Rob. Meow. Well.
There's this scene in Arrested Development where Tobias finds this gang, and the gang was like put together by his wife originally from the hot cop stripper, like male stripper thing. And so I have this like line memorized in my mind because it's one of the funniest lines of that whole show, where Tobias with his male stripper gang, who doesn't realize they were paid by his wife to be like a gang, with the air quotes. And he walks up to this other gang and he goes, Hey there, Fazellas. Looks like you guys are up to no good. Well, this gang used to be like that. 2, 3, 4. And then he starts like doing this like musical rap thing. It's so funny. And then they start shooting at him and he's like, I miscalculated. Retreat. Anyway.
I want to watch that now. Nose wise, this is like a really, really good nose. Yeah. Super sweet, very bourbony.
Rye 2. I could tell it's a high rye bourbon or a rye bourbon.
What's the proof on this again?
100.
100. But it's not bonded.
It's not bonded. Because that takes government supervision.
Good. I don't like the government. Don't tread on me, brother.
Yeah. Don't tell me what I can't pay taxes on or can.
Yeah, there is a bit of rye in the nose for sure.
Yeah.
Went for my first
like
sip.
A pleasant bourbon.
It is. It's definitely bourbony. I'll have to say that much. Bourbony than rye is kind of what I get.
Caramel, definitely.
Yes.
Honey, vanilla, maybe. I think
vanilla for sure.
A nice color too.
Nice terracotta.
Darker.
Um, I get a bitterness on the front end, and I'm not a huge fan of it. And it does feel hotter than 100 to me. Like it feels like the burn is there a little bit more. I haven't really entry buzzed because I was afraid to because I really haven't eaten today. Watch out. But then it really fades. It's very corn forward. I don't get a lot of like when you said rye on the nose, I'm like, yeah, I get the rye on the nose, but I don't really get it too much on the palate. Very corn forward. And like I will say, like, I'm not digging it so far. I can't dig it.
He can't.
Just because it's got that bitter, like it's a wall of bitter you got to get through before you get to the good stuff. I like the back end, but I'm not a huge fan of like the front end of the palate.
That's funny because I'm the opposite. I
Really?
think the back end is astringent, oaky, and it's where it drops off. Is like once you get halfway through the palate, it's like, there goes the good.
Really? I
And
must be your
this wasn't.
yang. You're my yin.
Yeah, this wasn't my when I tried the 15-year before. I thought it was just over oaked overall.
It is oaky. This is oaky.
But
Maybe
this is just on the finish for me. The front of the palate's actually very good. I don't think it's like too sweet or anything, but it's got some good caramel notes, some good vanilla notes, typical bourbon notes. I am not getting. I guess I'm getting a little bit of peanuts that can happen with Beam products, but it's not overwhelmingly peanutty like Booker's might be or something like that. This is more like a standard bourbony flavor. It's a little more potent than your average bourbon in terms of flavor, but then it goes a little too oaky on me at the finish. So let me try it again.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I just needed to have an entry buzz on it to get where you're at, but it is funny though. We kind of flip flop. I dropped my water. I'm making it dizzy, aggravating it.
Yeah, as some would say.
Oh man! So the funny thing is, did you watch Matt's review of the 10 Cup 14?
Yes, and he disagreed with us. He thought the 14-year was much better than the 10-year.
He did, although we agreed on the nose.
We did. It was
we agreed on some of the notes. It was like light and delicate, but
yeah.
Nose wise was
good. I forget what I gave it as a rating, but I think it deserved a good rating. It just wasn't as good as the 10-year.
I wasn't as impressed with it for sure. It was too just kind of fell flat. Anyway, that we're not talking about that. We're talking about this. No. Anyway, I thought it was funny. We had released the same thing same day.
Yeah, seriously. He must have known.
Yeah, he must spying. He's in the walls. Get your tinfoil hat on. Nose wise, I think it makes it a little bit better. I kind of like the nose better with the water. It's definitely sweeter. I'm not getting like sometimes you drop the water and you get a little more alcohol notes. This was sweeter. I don't know if I could pull out any rye from the nose. So it's more like a bourbon. It like definitely leans towards the bourbon sweetness on the nose.
Yeah, I agree. It's a little more sweet on the nose, but I just took a sip. It gets a little more like dry and astringent and oaky, even more than my, definitely more than my liking, but even more than the neat pour for me when I add a little water.
I'm with you 100%, except for the difference is your palate versus mine. I like oak, and I like the way the oak comes out on this. I think the rye spice shows up a little bit more. I'm not getting a lot of bitterness or anything like that, like I was on the neat. So far, water is where it's at for me, which does not happen often. So that's kind of impressive. I like that.
My second sip, I hated. Like I had to like shake it off. Not my cup of tea in terms of the oak, but still, I liked it better with the neat pour for sure. But let's see what ice will do to this thing. Let me take my last sip.
I'm loving water. Water is, and again, oak is not your thing. You don't like over oaked. I really like, I mean, this is where you get in vibrance, right? It is very oaky. The heat kind of gets like, this doesn't feel like 100 proof to me. It does not. It feels hotter in both neat and water. But like you get like a nice rye. I think the rye shows up less on the nose, but way more on the palate. And water so far is winning.
Yeah, we'll see where the ice brings us because I'm sniffing it now. It's super muted on the nose with some ice. I feel like I can't even smell anything with some ice. But I'll go for
God.
the
Oh,
fire in the hole. Boom. Wow, that was messy.
I thought I muted myself, but I almost left the studio, Cole. Then I realized I made a mistake. I'm still here, aren't I? You're frozen.
You're
Did you
here.
freeze? Okay.
Oh, left that studio. I thought you were like talking about like walked out of the room.
No. Like I went to mute myself so people wouldn't get the like, but they got
Yeah.
that. Sorry.
No, they didn't. I was muted.
Did I mute myself?
Yeah, I didn't hear a bit.
Oh, wonderful. I almost left.
What glass is that? Are you drinking a Glencairn?
No.
Or no?
I don't. I am awful. I think either I have like COVID, cloud, foggy brain things going on, or my ADD is like really bad because I just cannot find things, do things. Like I don't know. I don't feel like I'm able to keep up anymore. So no, I don't have any of my nice glasses. This is just like a Christmas box Crown Royal glass.
Nice.
It's okay.
I don't like this with ice. I don't know if I can even finish this sip.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's too oaky. It's like dry to the max.
And like astringent, I think is a good way. Yeah. It went too far.
It's like drawing the sweetness away from everything in the bourbon.
Yeah, there's like not a lot of sweetness for sure. I get a little bit to start on the front, but then it's like no, the little bit you get is not worth the rest of the drink.
Yeah. I respect Jim Beam for making a 15-year. I think this was actually really cool that they did this.
I like
and
it.
I would love to try the 18-year. But I am putting together my rating for this. And sadly, if you've been listening, I'm not a huge fan of this one so far. But that's just me. And I get that. I get that it's just me because there are things about this that are personal preferences of Cole. And one is I don't love when things are over oaked. So
yeah. Now I will say this is very oaky. But that's the thing. It's like, I feel like we do a good job of giving good ratings and good reviews and like telling people like, hey, like if you see it, get it. But again, it comes with caveats of like, what do you like? What do you dislike? Like early on in the show, Adam did not like scotches. Cole does. And if you like scotches, you should probably listen to Cole's review. Cole does not like oak. I don't mind oak. Yeah. I hate vanilla. Cole doesn't care.
Yeah.
So yeah. There you go. You got your rating. You want me to go first?
I do. I'm gonna go low on this one. I'm gonna go a 6.9. Would not buy this.
Voice.
Would not enjoy it too much even if it were handed to me. I don't love it, but I could definitely say there's worse out there. But this isn't up my alley. So 6.9 for me.
Speaking of up Cole's alley, if we hit patreon.com/chillfilter and we get to $1,000 per month, Cole's taking some Macallan.
Right up the alley.
Right up the alley. I think I'm at 7.8 with this.
Okay.
And I think I would be higher if the neat was better. Like if I had this at, just buy an ounce or two at a restaurant or a bar or something like that, and I had just the neat, I'd be like, no, not my thing. I wouldn't think to put water in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you kind of want the neat to kind of stand out the most because that's what you're blending for is to go neat.
Yeah.
I assume, unless you're Pappy and you want it with some ice cube and a lemon wedge or something like that.
Yeah.
But I love the water. Water was my favorite. The
nice.
Rye spice. Oh, we always say we go off the favorite, right? So if it was I'm not doing.
That's how we should rate.
I'm not doing that. I think because I feel like
he's avoiding it.
I am. I'm an avoider. So yeah, 7.8 is what I'm giving it.
I like that. 7.8. So yeah, I respect it. Now that our ratings are in, I think it's time for our next segment of the show we like to call "What Do You Think About That Instagram Post?" So here we go.
We're back. part of the show where we read a post, read an article, didn't write it, then read it, didn't post it. Here we go. This one comes from the Bourbon News, and I'm sure you can find it on some other outlets, but the Bourbon News on Instagram led us to this. And it says here, news from Maker's Mark. Cellar Age, a blend of 11 and 12-year-old bourbons. A special blend of aged barrel, 70% whiskey, aged 11 years, 30% whiskey, aged 12 years. Cellar Age, Kentucky Straight Bourbon, 750 milliliter, 45.30% alcohol volume. Labels have been 45.3, so 90.6. So
about like 90.6, yeah.
Labels have been leaked from Maker's Mark. But
nice.
this is coming off a label from Maker's Mark. Cole, any thoughts on this news? What you got?
This is huge for Maker's Mark. Huge. So Maker's Mark is known for bottling it when it's ready, which usually turns out in terms of their options about 6 years. So people have been asking Maker's Mark for years to put an age statement on. And like age it for longer than 10 years. So this is huge for Maker's Mark. And I thought this is even better than an article this week. This is a wish granted from Maker's Mark to put an age statement, or at least a or like 30-70 age statement on what they're doing. And I respect that not only did they put an age statement on it, but they blended age stated barrels, because that means they're really trying for this to be a great release. Like if you just like throw out a barrel, hey, it may be good, it might be not. People will buy it if it's age stated. But what they did here was do a little extra work on it, which shows me that this might be a very great product. I'd be very interested to try it. If any of our listeners find some, we would love to try it. I do really like Makers, but that's my problem with it, is like, why don't we try it a little longer? Especially with their like barrel proof stuff.
That's what I said to every ex-girlfriend I ever had, and thank goodness they said,
show me your barrel proof stuff.
No, why don't we try it a little longer? And they were like, nope. And I met the woman of my dreams.
Heyo.
So I am on the opposite side of the fence here. Like, it could be worse. It could be worse, Cole. What if it's worse? What if
they
keep
could be,
giving us the same stuff?
Then we'll know.
And it keeps us from the love of our lives.
Yeah. Which is another weeded bourbon. Yeah.
Weeded and repeated keeps me seated, and they're conceited. Sorry, the last part was about my ex-girlfriends again. They should not have thought so highly of themselves. They can't do better
I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby.
Listen to Iron Maiden, maybe with me.
Ooh. And Wheatus full circle.
Oh my gosh, it is Wheatus from a weeded bourbon.
Yep, exactly.
Booyah, Grandma.
Booyah, Grandma. So I like
my beans.
It could be bad. It could be bad.
No, I agree. I think it's interesting.
A big
like, branch out, do it, especially from a brand that's that big, right? Like,
they're huge.
Might as well have your side project, save a couple barrels, put them to the side.
I mean, it's taken them so long. They've been around since like the 60s or something like that. I might be wrong on that. But they've been around for a while with Samuel.
I want to say in the
someone out there is yelling his last name. I don't know what the original guy was, but I think the recent Maker's Mark, Samuel, what the crap?
I want to say Maker's Mark came around in the 80s, Cole.
Maybe. Did you look that up?
No, I just remember listening to a book where it was like one of the first craft whiskey distillers.
But Maker, remember the story of he like baked some bread? I feel like that was like at least the 60s.
I don't know.
No, that's what his name is. Samuels. That's what Rob Samuels. Rob Dedlow.
Beautiful
Rob
name.
Samuels.
No, my name's not Rob Dedlow.
No, it's definitely not. It's
my name
Roberto.
Is. What is my name? My name is Robert.
That's I know this. B.
Bochard?
B. Blanchard. Yeah.
Blanchard. Robert Blanchard. Cole did a thing where it was like analyzed our dialogue and it came up with
it was basically Chat GPT for Google. I asked them, what do you know about Chill Filtered podcast? And it's like, oh, it's hosted by Cole Sebald and Rob Blanchard.
And I am Robbie Blanchard. I don't
Yeah.
see. Google just outed me. That's my real name.
Yeah.
Now all my family will know. Robert Blanchard here.
And
I
your
was going to put that
students
as
will
my
know
name
now.
on the YouTube Dream Mirror thing. I
Yeah.
didn't.
You should put
All
that
right.
next week on as your title on the bottom.
That's what I wanted to do this
Robby
week.
Blanchard.
No, I'm a Rob Blanchard.
Okay. Sorry.
Robert Blanchard, actually, because it's more sophisticated.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we move
So
on
do
here,
we have
Cole?
last week's results from What Whiskey Would You Choose?
We do. It is no
I
surprise.
have a What Whiskey Would You Choose this week, unless you had one.
Great googly moogly. I need you to say it. So anyway, last week we talked about what whiskey are you giving your child on their 21st birthday. Cole went with Eagle Rare Standard
won.
10-year. And I went with Crown Peach Royal.
Which
Royal
I get
Peach.
the appeal of is like, hey, you don't want to overwhelm them.
Well, my rationale, I think
whiskey.
was good. It was like I don't think my daughter is going to be someone that's going to handle. I don't. She is a rule follower. I don't think she'll handle it, and I'll just give her something that'll be nice and sweet and tasty. And Cole won 87 to 13%. So from a whiskey listening podcast standpoint, I see why Cole won. We had some good ride-ins. Killed the 518 Miles Ferguson. I had a chance to pick up a Glen Grant 21, which would be so cool for a 21st birthday.
That would be cool.
But it's expensive.
If his kids weren't already older than that.
Yeah. Joel M09, and it will be on their 18th. Whoops, missed that. Something hazmat.
Hazmat, baby. Bring them down hard.
And in Tasmania, it's 18. So Matt Market been close to Buffalo Trace. Awesome standard. Brian Rapp. Since Beam Juice was my first love, I'll keep a Booker's that's dated near their birthday.
That'd be cool. That's
awesome. Bourbon Badger, Caleb Olson, Old Forester, birthday bourbon from their birth year. Noise.
That'd be cool.
Bryce Marita, B_side. Bryce Marita, Yam 18 if possible, but if not, probably something from Del Bach.
Yamizaki.
And Bryce, that's why we like you. You're right. You're like right in the zone with us. That's where we're at. Paul Clarkson, P. Clarkson 21. Look for a special bottle the day before birth. Little Book, Chapter 4 and 1. Blood Oath 8 for the other.
I like that. Before the birth, that's awesome. And
Marco
he's dead too.
Bushmills Single Malt 21. And Dramhound. This is, I think, this one, like if you can get this for your child, you're winning. Dramhound, Blanton's Gold, where the dump date
Blanton's Gold
is their birthday. First of all, Blanton's Gold.
Yeah. And then a dump
the
date.
Dump date.
And I asked him later, I was like, was that to the exact year? And he's like, yes, to the year.
Oh, that wins. I mean, like if you can do that, that's where you go. I think, anything with a dump date on their birthday, the exact day, that's the way to go.
My thing was, I have a Henry McKenna 10-year that was barreled 10 years before Beck's birthday, which I thought was pretty cool. But I doubt they bottled it on 10 years later. Exactly. So,
All right, cool. So what do we got this week?
Yeah, so this is a fun one. It's not too much of like a taste thing, but it's
Cole,
Cole, I'll
have you know it. When it comes to tasting, I'm not that great. I lost in Matt Madness. How are you doing in Matt Madness?
So far, so good.
Yeah, you're gonna win.
Call for the win. Me these days.
Call for the win. CFW. Call for the win.
CFT dub.
Well,
I guess.
Sometimes we don't capitalize the ons, the does, the a's, the us. Let's go, bruh.
So this week, it is not based on taste, but based on what is your favorite whiskey nickname? I'll give you some hints, or I'll give you some shortenings of names or changes of names. For example, MFW, or no, MFC. Mellow corn. And I'll skip the middle word.
MFC? Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And or even Pappy is a shortened version of Pappy Van Winkle. There are some other names. What is your favorite go-to nickname for a whiskey?
Okay. Well, you go first because you've obviously thought about this. Do you have an idea?
Yeah, so I think I gotta think about this for a second. Look at my list behind me. I mean, I was thinking of Yam because
Yam.
You said Yam.
I said yam. Well, when you read it, I'm a phonetic person. I read things phonetically.
I like yam. I'll go with yam.
You can go yam.
Yam 18 while I'm at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going with the episode, the old knob schlob.
Knob schlob. Heard it plenty of times, right, people?
Yep. I don't know what to go with, Cole. You always spring these on me, and I stink.
I should.
I just like EHT. I like EHT.
EHT is a nickname. Yeah,
I like
we'll go with that.
Just go EHT.
What, small batch, single barrel?
Just
Barrel
EHT.
proof.
You got any EHT? And the person behind the counter either knows what you're talking about. They go, no, we don't. You're a dummy because this is Idaho.
Or they're like,
or they go,
what?
Huh?
Yeah, and you're like, time to go to a new bar.
Yeah, so that's about that.
So that's cool.
Okay, we'll post that this week. What are we drinking next week, Cole? Any ideas?
Great question.
Yeah, it is a good question. Have you looked?
It's our 250th episode.
Oh,
so
we're doing.
We should do something nice.
What is it? We have the
Stag Junior.
Yeah,
17.
No, I thought we had. Don't we have a B-tack on the shelf?
We don't. No,
we don't. Let's just do Stag Junior then. Let's do the Stag. Let's just not even put it up.
It's gonna be a good one. I'm really looking forward to it either way.
We'll have a stag party for 250.
Yeah,
done.
That'll be good.
There will be no 250.
Yeah, we'll do Stag. I was thinking we could do Glen Grant 18, but I think Stag's better for this case. So,
okay, that's Stag.
Cool.
Stag party.
Stag it up. All right. So I hope our listeners will check us out next week and for our 250th episode, which will basically be our 5-year anniversary. Basically, even though it's technically going to be about 260, we're going to count this as our 5-year anniversary. So
no, because we're going to celebrate every milestone. This is 250. That's half of 500, which is half of 1,000. We're at a quarter of
1,000.
The court,
that's a lot of episodes. We've been at this for a long time, and I love it.
You have. Can you believe you've been going this long?
No, it doesn't feel like 5 years. It does not feel like 5 years. It feels like 2 years.
What is it, a couple episodes? I can't remember. You're like, oh, we drank this. When do you think we drank that? And I'm like, I don't know, a couple months ago. I'm like, no, it was a year and a half. What? Yeah, just time flies when you're having fun, man.
Do you remember when we drank Dead Guy whiskey?
When you're at my house.
Like 54, I want to say.
And I 54 or 58, something like that. And I poured you the samples, and you're like, Robby, how much do you think we drink on this show? I'm like, I don't know. I'm drinking with a friend.
Poured a handle, yeah.
Yeah, I poured a fistful instead of a finger.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Look at us. Can't wait.
Well, I appreciate how much we've come, and I hope our listeners appreciate how much they've come along. How far we've come. That too.
Golly,
along.
Cool. Oh man.
This is like the old days.
I hope you get better at not speaking in innuendos unknowingly.
Exactly. I hope we're gonna have a fun Easter's, and I hope everyone had a fun Easter's by the time this came out. But most of all, listeners and viewers, I hope that our love of whiskey lifted your spirits. No, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't the classiest of bunnies, but it was more so like it wasn't that bad either. But it was. I think Bex just doesn't like to be held by strangers.